Hey, check out that beautiful moon. It's uh Gibbons. It's a Gibbons moon, so it's working towards becoming a full moon. It's really kind of cool. And I'm uh CJ Miller. I'm out in Shreveport, Louisiana, just walking around across the Red River. Is beautiful. Bossier City, Louisiana, and I'm on my way there now. So I'm out for just what I regularly call a health walk at night. Basically, just to get out, and I'm walking in the evening, and I'm doing it for health reasons, physically, and then I love to make little videos and chronicle my stream of consciousness as I think about and talk about whatever. No specific thing, but yeah, it's close to midnight, and yeah. I've done really, really well as far as my diet goes. My newly instituted or reinstituted keto plan. I took a break for a couple of months or a few months or whatever to give myself some variation in my diet, but it really is time to get back into that keto, and I really do love it. Meaning that the benefits of a keto diet for me, I do really, really well, especially with my diabetes type 2. My A1C's, almost to a very clear level. Like I get down to 6 point, or slightly below or something like that when I'm on keto. And so, yeah, it's just a really, really cool thing. The lower the A1C, the better the health. So I just want to really keep all that going. So it's okay to be a little lax, but I really just have to grab onto the whole lifestyle of a healthier diet. And also, I've been doing more physical activity. I've been in the heat of summer, not been able to get to the gym as much as I like to, but I do try to go there. And when I do go to the gym, I try not to just kill myself, but because I'm not really doing the whole bulking or anything like that, because it's I want to decrease my body mass index. I want to that's the ratio of fat to the other products that make up my body, or whatever, the other portions that make up my body, like bone and muscle and all that kind of stuff. I want to reduce as much fat as I possibly can. You can't just go zero fat though. But I've got room. I'm in a very healthy zone, but I'm at that healthy zone where I'm healthy with my body mass index, but they'd like to see me get healthier. So with that knowledge, it's time for me to do my part and to get a little bit more physically active. That means more health walks like this, and which is just me go walking around talking, and me paying better attention to my diet, because it really is a lifestyle thing. When you type 2 diabetes, it's that's pretty much basically reversible. And then of course anything that is reversible also is non-reversible, and so yay. But to stay healthy, I've got to continue to do the things, and I talk with doctors and everything like that, and just stuff. It's kind of cool. But diet and exercise have been the best for me, as far as bringing my A1C down. More than anything else, diet and exercise. So yay. And that our health, our physical and mental and spiritual health and emotional health, all that you know, there are people that can help us in those areas that we need help, but it's up to us to do our part, you know, and help ourselves so that help can help us better. If you know what I mean by all that. So yeah, let me pause the video while I walk around. I'm not walking up and down Texas Street. I'm on the back side of Texas Street, or I should say, the street from where I live. It's on the south side of Texas Street. Oh my God, I used to know this. Yeah, it's Milam Street. Yes, I read a street sign, but it's Milam Street. And straight up Milam Street used to be at the other end of Jewella. It's where the Villa del Lago apartments were. You know, so it kind of like, and that's kind of like the end of Milam Street. So it kind of goes straight up to the other side and kind of like dead ends at that Jewella, and then of course that whole back end Lakeshore area takes off or whatever. So it's kind of cool. Hang on, let me pass these folks up here on the street. I try not to accidentally catch people in my videos. Oh, by the way, this is the front of the parish courthouse, and honestly, is it the parish courthouse or is it the state courthouse? I do not know. Like locally, it's a courthouse, and yeah, it's I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't know. I actually think I had that wrong. I think that I was just looking at the state courthouse. I really do. I really think I was looking at the state courthouse. Because we have a city courthouse, and there's a federal courthouse, and so yeah, I do not know. That lets me know that it would be a really good idea to find out. You never know when you might need to know some stuff. Someone called me some few weeks ago from the Department of Corrections to my cell phone, and I'm like, well, I don't know anybody who's in jail. If somebody goes to jail and they call me, I need to know that they're going to call me. They need to get in touch with somebody out in the world to say, oh, by the way, so-and-so wants to call you, because I just do not accept those, those collect calls or whatever on my cell phone. I don't know. I've got like a fixed rate plan. I don't know how that works. I'm not going to accept something that turns out to be something like $5 or $6 a minute. I don't know what they charge. But also, I just don't know people who go to jail, like with any sort of regularity or anything like that, enough to, so how weird is that, right? But yeah, I don't, if I pick up the phone and it's a call from a jail, well, I was like, I can't do anything for you. I'm not a legal person. Nor do I really have money to pay for anyone's legal defense. So I'd be the last person anyone should call should they go to jail, Just putting that out there. But there's very little that I could do. And everybody that I know, they're all present and accounted for, so it might not even have been a real legitimate call, Like, how do I know that it wasn't a scam for someone, like some weird overseas and reverse the charges? But it be like, you know, not from a jail, you know. So, and I didn't, you know. So how I know about this call is because the call came in and I missed it, and then I called the jail back, and it was like the inmate processing or some sort of jail or something like that. But it was a recorded message. It wasn't someone answering the phone, so I just like hung up. I didn't worry with it. But yeah, I don't know. If someone calls me, they're pretty much out of luck if they need help from inside of a jail. I don't know. It's not to be cruel and not to be non-compassionate, you know. But there's just that's just not my thing, you know. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You know, like, yeah, it's, yeah, I don't know. Oh, now this is a fun corner. Now it's like close to midnight, so this stuff is not open right now. But this is a multicultural center of the South. Really, really fun. And right over here is a Spring Street Museum, and they've always got fun things going on in there. And typically, when they're open, they're free. No traffic. Yes, I'm crossing against the lights. But it's a one-way street and no one was coming. So, okay, so you know, I like stories. I really do. You know, the hero, the villain, the conflict, something to overcome, the overall through line of a good narrative. And I'm working my way towards just, you know, really diving back into my writing. My book of poetry, it's still there. I'm just, yeah, I feel like I want to release that book, but I also want to have a narrative and a novella that I've been working on, and I kind of want to put them out around the same time. I just feel like I was all set to really push this out, and then I kept working, and I kept wondering to myself, what does this mean that I have this collection of poetry, hundreds of poems, by the way, to pick and choose from that I've written. You know, just like when you're a very prolific, you know, poet, and you just have like, you know, a lifetime of poetry around you and inside of your head that you're written, and I'm not really putting it out into a book. And the real thing that I wanted to tell myself, you know, I wanted to ask myself, what's really going on? Why am I procrastinating on this? And the real thing is I wanted to get myself, you know, back into writing, like, you know, narrative, you know. And I want my introduction to the world as far as like, you know, self-publishing and everything. I want it to include poetry, but I want it to include narrative. I want it to basically have a few different releases, a few different pieces to release on self-publishing around the same time. So that whenever I say, hey, I'm self-publishing and it's there, it's up for release, that there are a few different options that people could look at. You know, I'm in my little private world, in my little head when I was a teenager, in middle school, writing things and passing them around to the students to read and stuff. I had like kind of a fan base, and people just knew that I was a writer in my, yeah, people just knew. And it's like I wrote hand wrote stories. We were poor and I didn't have any kind of real money, so I would often collect blank paper from school wherever I could find it, and then I would take the staplers from out of our papers, because we, you know, this was before everybody did everything on a Kindle or notepad or anything like that. The electric notepad. We wrote with pencil and paper back then, in cursive for some of you people. So in creating these books, these little booklets with my stories in them, I would take the staplers out of my regular papers and once we get them back, and I would save the staplers, and I didn't have a stapler, but I would hand insert the stapler through the crease in the make little booklets, and I would write usually 1 or 2 stories, and I would pass them out to whomever, and then I would even write advertisements for what's upcoming in the back, because like I used to buy a lot of paperback books from the 7-Eleven that used to be near our house. 7-Eleven here now in Shreveport, they're now Circle K's, they're not 7-Elevens anymore. All the stores that used to be 7-Elevens became Circle K's, and most of those closed down and moved to other locations. But anyway, paperback books used to be a big thing in my life, and I would read them. And you read those little drugstore paperback books, there's always the ads for what's suggestions on what you could read, or you could buy the rest of this collection or this or that or whatever. So I used to do all that, and I kind of want to recapture that feeling, that love of writing that I had when I was a teen. Yeah. And I'm telling you that I'm 12 years old writing stories, and I don't know how great the writing was as far as really being well written, but I can tell you that the plots and the through lines and everything, they were constructed very well. I can tell you the stories were good. I just don't know how well they were executed as far as writing at that level. But I can tell you that the themes, the things that I wrote about, were very adult conflicts. Broken homes, alcoholism, cheat. And I wasn't even at that age, I wasn't even mindful of all that kind of stuff immediately in my life. But it's just, we watched a lot of TV, and so I'm writing about all this wonderful nighttime soap opera type stuff that I see in my TV. So there's always that kind of stuff, going on in the guise of, science fiction and horror stories, little novels and stuff like that. So that's kind of the thrill that I want to find myself back. I want to work my way back to that feeling, because that's when writing is really enjoyable. Not when I would push myself to write something because it's something that I don't want to write because it's a job that I want to do, or a goal that I set that I have to meet, or anything like that. I don't want to overthink that. I just want to find my way back to the place of writing a story so I can recover the joy of writing. And I actually think the way to do that is right in front of me. I'm gonna have to get some pencils and paper. I used to write everything in pencil, and on paper. And then once the story's there, I can transcribe it to computer. But I didn't compose on a computer when I was a teen and everything like that. So I just need to get right back to the actual sitting down and writing. Now, I journal all the time, and I've tried to compose. I even tried to do a little series on, when I was back on Facebook, a little series. I was going to write a novel in, chapters and finish it. And I did. I kind of got through maybe a third of that. But even then, it wasn't that wonderful, because I was trying to rush the experience. Let me go ahead and get this in my Facebook before something happens and the app closes or Facebook goes, you know what I mean? It was I really wouldn't have to worry about that. if I'm not trying to beat the battery on my device, or hope that I don't lose. If I'm not worried about like pressing the save button every 3 minutes so I don't lose something, then I probably can concentrate on the actual writing. And if I get into that writing, we'll see. But that's kind of where I'm going. Love stories. I loved the stories that I talked about, but I also loved the fables that had like little lessons. One of those is The Giving Tree. Yeah, it's a very famous book that we know about that. And it just kind of talks about, it just gives a situation where the boy loves the tree, and the tree throughout the different stages of the boy's life as he comes back. The boy loves the tree loves the boy, love is not the issue. But eventually, the tree just gives everything to the boy until there's, as he grows through his life to become a man, until there's nothing left of the tree. So, I don't know. I always thought of it as, for me, what happens, kind of a metaphor for the parent-child situation. The parent takes care of the child and loves the child unconditionally, and throughout their life, the parent never stops giving, except in this story, the reason that the tree no longer exists is because eventually the tree has given everything of itself to the boy, and then of course the boy goes on. I don't know. There's so many different takeaways you could take from that story, but so it's really deep. It doesn't, but it's one of those things that the story's there, and then the moral of the story is not presented within the story outright. It's left to the person, the reader, to figure out what their interpretation is. But there's a fable that I read some time ago, and it was about a little let's say a little squirrel. But it was like a little forest animal or whatever. I'm gonna start with the squirrel that finds a wool mitten out in the woods, and it's in the fall, maybe going towards winter, so it's really cold out there, right? So this animal squeezes into this wool mitten and stays warm. And along comes a little ferret or something like that, and wants to cozy into the hey, can I come in? It's cold. Is there room for me inside? And yeah, come on in. There's room. This is wool. It'll stretch to fit. And so many different forest animals come there. And so there's like just any kind of animal in the forest you can think of gets eventually packed into this woolen mitten, and it's really, really stretched. And then along comes a fly, right? And the fly says, "Boy, it's winter. I wonder if there's room for me inside of that mitten with all of you guys, that you guys are staying warm." And they say, "Yes, there is. Come on in." And the fly sets 1 foot inside of that mitten, and then the wool mitten bursts and is basically strewn to bits. So the lesson for that, I guess, is that there's no, there are limits. To every good intention and every well-meaning thing, there is a limit. Like maybe they should have taken turns. The moral of the story is that the mitten should have been a timeshare. I don't know. Okay, so down here at the riverfront, just walking around, enjoying myself. It's peaceful. I'm gonna walk up and go overlook the platform, that little area, and kind of look at the water for a little bit. Hang tight, we'll be there in a moment. Yay. So if you guys are watching this, I wonder, do you have any favorite fables or stories from when you were a child that give you uh, some ideology that you carry with you today as simple and as uh, you know, shallow as the stories may be. Some of them are pretty deep. Dr. Seuss. Oh my God, I had no idea. Dr. Seuss, and I was reading in first grade, Dr. Seuss books. That's, and basically the morals behind that, at that young age, it was not just about his little storybooks with their, constructed, made-up words and outlandish worlds to go to and everything. Really, there's a lot in those books, that are deeply philosophical, but they were presented in a way that I didn't even know that they were being presented to. And I was ruminating these things. I was thinking about them in my head. Well, what would I do in that situation? What is it? Because a lot of his stories were open-ended, the one about the two civilizations, that there's a wall between them, and they are, I guess there's no real subtext of this. Is all up front. They were in a battle over. They were quarreling over these two little towns, these two civilizations, over whether you butter the bread on the upside or on the downside of the bread, which is the correct way to do it. So much so that each civilization had created a little tiny pill, and if they would drop the pill on the other side of the wall, it's big enough to destroy their civilization. And the question is, to the reader, would you drop the pill, in order to prove the point of which side you butter your bread, and it's, of course, that is, that's a very deep topic, to read in a Dr. Seuss book, especially since we don't just war over culture. Honestly, culture, race, everything, it's all a red herring. I think that we're all pitted against each other for those differences, so that we don't realize the real difference is a financial difference. Everything is all about which person controls, who is going to control the money and the resources and everything, and as it is now, our money is not backed by actual wealth. Our money is not backed by how much gold, silver, property we have, or anything like that. It's backed by an assumption of credit. I know. I didn't quite realize it either. But yeah, our money is no longer backed by gold commodity or something like that. Whatever. It's so our rate of being able to trade money for goods literally is controlled by the world's governments. Hey, I don't make the rules, but run with it. But yeah, so the talk about the reason for the pill, it's not about culture. It really is about money. It really is about who gets to make the decision. It's not about who butters the bread on which side. It's about which cities, which towns, or whatever, which civilizations are given what type of food. I mean, it's whatever. I guess the closest thing would be the Hunger Games, because that is what's up. speaking of, it's after midnight. I'm a little bit hungry. I'm gonna go home, make some food. I'm gonna end this video on all these cheerful, happy notes. But yeah, what do you think about any of those stories from when you were a kid? You know, that moon is beautiful. You know, overall, there are lots of problems in any society that I could point at, including societies within the United States of America. But I'm still a patriot, and I still love living in America, you know. And I can't imagine ever giving my allegiance or citizenry or whatever away to another civilization. But I would love to visit more of the world. You know, I'm working on it. Some things are going to happen way down the line. You know, as of right now, I enjoy taking the occasional vacation or something like that. Lately, it's been cruises, and my next cruise is going to be at the end of January. So, right now, about 5 months away. Yep, yay! I'm like so happy about it. Okay. Listen, even though we don't know each other, I know that you're out there and that you're human, and I love you, and I want good things for you. So when I say that I love you and I bid you all these good wishes and things, I'm very sincere about that. And I'm very sincere when I say love and light, peace, God bless, and yeah, good night.